Okay, so for Woodworking 1, when I give you the exam, and I want you to have this YouTube video or whatever so that you can go back to it and look at it. And these are the procedures I want you to understand. On the radial arm saw, so first of all, you got to know radial arm saw. We never cut anything less than 12 inches. We only cross cut across the grain 1 inch longer than we need. We come to the joiner. We join the best side grain. So this is step 2. We come to the table saw. We set the fence the distance that we want from the blade, and we rip the side grain. Chop saw, or a miter saw actually, we are going to square one in, so there'll be an X. You'll take a little bit off that edge. So how much? Just a little bit. Then we will take that edge to the length we need, or we'll set it to a stop. So if you're doing the bench, we had to go to 28.5. So we would set this at 28.5, and we would cut all our slats at 28.5. So those are the 4 steps: radial arm saw, joiner, table saw, miter saw. Remember, this piece of wood will be on the test of something like this. When I ask you what these 2 edges are called, you should say side grain. When I say what are these called, you should say end grain. When I say if we cut this direction, you should say cross cut. When I say cut this direction, you should say rip. We're only going to cross cut on the miter saw and the radial arm saw. We're only going to go ripping or with the grain on the joiner and the table saw. Things that you need to understand will all be on the test. 24 inches long, steel ruler. Tape measure. Most of you understand what tape measure is. Come over this way. Okay, we have 2 orbital sanders. One is just square and one is a disc sander. They're both orbital sanders. Understand the procedure for sanding: 80, 150, wet 150. If we have edges to do, we always do edges before we do flat part. On the test also will be this machine that we went over, okay, which is called a planer. So the planer is going to cut off the flat surface. Understand, planer marks are the what goes across the grain. That's what we're trying to sand off. We have a horizontal drum machine, so that will be on the test. 80 grit is on the machine. When we run it through, it'll take off the planer marks. We smooth everything out with 150, wet 150. Bandsaw we talked about will also be on the test. So on the shelf piece, we had to use the bandsaw to cut the taper. Okay, on the project, we have to make dado cuts. Dado cuts for the shelf, dado cuts for the plant stand, or view rack, whatever you want to call it. Another table saw, we just have dado blades stacked up. So you need to understand what dado blades do. And then last for this video, you need to make sure that you understand what the biscuit joiner is. Most of you have used it. And you need to understand that these are bar clamps. Okay? So you can review this tape whenever you want. I'm literally going to give you a piece of paper and you're going to take the test on this. I want you to pass. I want you to understand what everything is. That's the most important thing. Okay? I didn't tell you this before, but anytime you have the dado cuts, start using your marker to put your name in here so that we don't lose it. And I don't have anything funny to draw except that.